A very good morning, students. I hope you all are fine and safe with your family. Students, we have already done with our civics and we have already completed in our history first 3 lessons. Today, we will be learning a new topic which is lesson number 4, and name of the lesson is Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. If you remember, students, we have already learned in our previous chapter, that is lesson number 2, India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, and this time, that is lesson number 4, is how was Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Rules by foreign rulers. In the beginning of 17th century CE, Adil Shah of Bijapur and Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar were in possession of most territories in Maharashtra. It means what? It means at the beginning of 17th century, Adil Shah of Bijapur and Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar, they were under control. They had taken most of the territories in Maharashtra. The Mughals had entered Khandesh. Okay, Khandesh is a place. The Mughals had entered Khandesh with an objective to expand their power in the south. Okay, so what was the objective of Mughals? That they had to expand their powers in the south. The Portuguese and Siddhis controlled the coastal belt in Konkan. What Portuguese and Siddhis were doing? They were controlling the coastal belt in Konkan. Moving ahead, the Portuguese had established their rule in Goa and Vasai. Portuguese, what they have done? They have established their rule in which place? Goa and Vasai. The British, the French and the Dutch were engaged in competition and conflict due to trade rivalry. British, French and Dutch, they were mostly engaged in competition, okay, and conflict because of trade rivalry. All these powers assessed the strength of other powers, kept themselves safe and tried to dominate as much as possible. So what these powers were doing? They were keeping themselves safe, but they used to try as much as possible other people. Okay, students. So now what happened? These conflict, because of these powers, what had happened? This conflict has created instability and insecurity in Maharashtra. So because of all these things, there was instability and there was insecurity in Maharashtra. These different people from Europe were called as Stopkar on the basis of their customary headgear. Okay, so these different people from Europe, what they were called as? They were called as Stopkar. How they were called as? On the basis of their customary headgear. Okay, moving ahead. It is necessary to get acquainted with the village, that is Moja, Kasbah and Pargana, to understand the nature of settlements in that period, as also of the officers that form a link between rulers and their subjects, and also the markets and the craftsmen. Now we will be learning a new topic, student, which in detail, which is called as village, that is Moja. Second one is Kasbah and third one is Pargana. Okay, to understand the nature of the settlement which was there in that period, and also who all were the in charges of those settlement, and what was their rule, and what were the market and craftsmen. We will be learning now in detail. Now students, we will learn in detail about village, which is also called as Moja. Most of the people lived in villages. A village was also called as Moja. So what village was also called as? It was also called as Moja. The chief of the village was Patil. Who was the chief of the village? The chief of the village was the Patil. He used to try to bring maximum land under cultivation. What he used to do? His job was to bring maximum land under cultivation. So what will happen if maximum land under cultivation has been brought? It is going to benefit everyone. Okay, when there was any dispute in the village, the Patil resolved it and made peace. So whenever there was any kind of fighting or if any misunderstanding or any kind of problems if they used to face, what Patil used to do? Patils used to resolve that. Resolve means solve that particular problem and made peace in that place. So that was the job of Patil. Next, a Kulkarni helped the Patil in his work. So whose help Patil used to receive? Patil used to receive the help of Kulkarni. So what Kulkarnis used to do? The Kulkarni kept the record of the revenue that was collected. That means the job of Kulkarni was to keep the record of the revenue, what all the things was being collected. Next is Baluta. What is Baluta? There were students, various artisans in the village. Okay, there were different artisans. They had hereditary rights regarding their occupation. So what they were having? They were having hereditary rights regarding their occupation. The peasants gave a share of the agricultural produce to the artisans for the services they rendered to the village community. What peasants used to do? The peasants used to give the share of the agricultural produce. To whom they used to give? They used to give to artisans. For what they used to give? For whatever the services they used to render to the village community. This share is called as Baluta. Okay students, so what is Baluta? It is the whatever the peasants gave a share of the agricultural produce to the artisans for the services they rendered to the village community. That share was called as Baluta. Next is students Kasba. First one what we have learned? We have learned village, which was also called as Moja. Okay, who were there in village? There were Patils and Kulkarni. Now what we are learning students? Now we are learning in detail about Kasba. So what is Kasba? Kasba was like a big village. It was usually the headquarters of Pargana. So what is Kasba? Kasba is nothing but it is like a big village and it was usually the headquarters of Pargana. Pargana, after Kasba we will be learning in detail students. Example, Indapur Kasba of Indapur Pargana and Vai Kasba of Vai Pargana were the headquarters of those Pargana. Agriculture was the main occupation. What was the main occupation over here? Agriculture. There were skilled artisans like carpenters, blacksmiths, etc. in Kasba. Who all were here? There were skilled artisans like carpenters, blacksmiths, etc. in this particular place. There were usually a market which is also called as Peth adjacent to a Kasba. So what there was adjacent to Kasba? There was market which is also called as Peth. The Shetty and Mahajans were the Watandars of the Peth. Who were the Watandars of the Peth? Shetty and Mahajan. Okay. Every village did not necessarily have a Peth. Each and every village was not having Peth. It is not compulsory that every village should have a Peth. The setting up of Peth was the job of Shettis and the Mahajan. To settle Peth, whose job it was? It was job of Shettis and Mahajan. These people only used to do all this. For that, they received some land from the government and some rights from the villagers. So, what they used to receive in return? They used to receive some land from the government and some right from the villagers. The Mahajan maintained the accounts of the Peth. Who used to maintain the accounts of the Peth? Mahajan. Next. So we have already learned students in detail about village which is called as Moja, and then we have learned about Kasba. Now the third which we are going to learn is students called as Pargana. What is Pargana? Many villages together made a Pargana, okay? But number of villages was not the same in all Pargana. That means many villages in total made a Pargana, but number of villages was not the same in all Pargana. For example, Pune Pargana was a big Pargana. Which was big Pargana? Pune Pargana. Why it was big? Because it consisted of 290 villages. Next, there were 64 villages in Jharkhand Pargana. The Shirwal Pargana was small. It had only 40 villages. So, these all together made as Pargana. So, who were the Watandar officers? The Deshmukh and Deshpande were the Watandar officers of the Pargana. The Deshmukh was the chief of Patils in the Pargana. The Deshpande was the chief of all Kulkarnis in the Pargana. The Deshmukh did at Pargana level what the Patil did at village level, and the Deshpande did at Pargana level the work that Kulkarnis did at village level. These Watandar officers were the link between people and the government. Okay, students. So in village, if you recollect now, in village there were Patils and Kulkarni. In Kasba there were Shetty and Mahajan, and in Pargana there were Deshmukh and Deshpande. Okay, so these Watandar officers were the link between whom? They were link between people and the government. In case of enemy invasion or drought, these Watandar represented the grievances of the people to the government. Sometimes these officers misused their powers also. They collected more money from the people than was due or did not remit the money so collected to the government in time. On such occasion, the people suffered harassment. So all these things used to happen, students. Next, which we are going to learn now, students, which is called as calamity of a famine. Agriculture was dependent on rainwater. Okay, agriculture is totally dependent, students, on rainwater. Without rain, agriculture is not at all possible. If it did not rain, what is going to happen? If rain is not there, crops will fail. The price of food grains will rise. Okay, so these are the disadvantages if there is no rain. So how agriculture it is going to affect. It became difficult for the people to get food grains and other things. If rain is not there, crops will not be there. If crops is not there, so people have to, it is very difficult for the people to get the food grains and other things, students. Okay, so then what happened? And there will be no fodder for the cattle. Water will become scarce. It will become very difficult for the people to live in villages. A famine was a great calamity for the people, and they will be forced to leave that particular village if there is such kinds of a problem. A great famine occurred in Maharashtra in 1630 CE. People were greatly distressed due to this famine. Distress means what? Many things had happened during this time. Okay, students, now we will be learning. It has been described in these words. People were ready to sell themselves for the piece of bakri, but there was nobody to buy them. Okay, it was such was that people were ready to sell themselves for a piece of bakri, that they should get something to eat, but there was nobody to buy them. The famine put to an end to industries. Okay, because of this famine, what happened? Industry came to an end. All financial transactions came to a standstill. That means there was not at all financial transaction due to this famine. People had to wander to far away regions in search of livelihood. What people had to do? Because of the famine, nothing was there, so they have to wander far away region. That means they have to move away in search of livelihood. It was a great challenge to bring back to normalcy the devastated life of the people. So it was great challenge that everything should come to the normal, how earlier the people used to stay. So this much, students, we have learned in today's video. We will just take a quick recap of what we have learned from the starting. In the beginning of 17th century CE, Adil Shah of Bijapur and Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar were in possession of most territories in Maharashtra. The Portuguese had established their rule in Goa and Vasai. The British, French and Dutch were engaged in competition and conflict due to trade rivalry. A village was also called Moja. The chief of village was Patil. He used to try to bring maximum land under cultivation. When there was any dispute in the village, Patil resolved it and made peace. A Kulkarni helped the Patil in his work. The peasants gave a share of their agricultural produce to the artisans for the services they rendered to the village community. This share was called as Baluta. A kasbah was like a big village. There were skilled artisans like carpenters, blacksmiths, etc. in a kasbah. There were usually a market that is called as pet adjacent to a kasbah. The Shetty and Mahajan were the watandars of the pet. Many villages together made a pargana, but the number of villages was not the same in all parganas. The Deshmukh was the chief of Patils in a pargana. The Deshpande was the chief of all Kulkarnis in the pargana. The Deshmukh did at pargana level, what the Patil did at village level. The Deshpande did at pargana level the work that Kulkarnis did at village level. A great famine occurred in Maharashtra in 1630 CE. People were greatly distressed due to this famine. It has been described in these words: people were ready to sell themselves for a piece of bhakri, but there was nobody to buy them. It was a great challenge to bring back to normalcy the devastated life of the people. So students, what we have learned today is only the one part of today's lesson, that is Maharashtra before times of Shivaji Maharaj. What is happened next after this famine, what had happened, that we are going to learn in our next video. If there is any doubt, I request you all to again go through the video. The doubts will be cleared. Thank you so much.
A very good morning, dear children. I hope you all are fine and safe with your family. Students, in history, today we will be continuing with our same lesson, that is Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. In our previous video, students, we have done with village, that is Mauja. We have also learned in detail about Baluta, next Kasbah, and then Pargana. We have also learned about, students, calamity of a famine that had occurred in Maharashtra in 1630 CE. Now we will be learning, student, in detail about the next. The work of Warkari movement. Society was greatly influenced by blind beliefs and rituals. People had become fatalistic and inert, means they were not at all active. They had lost all initiative. The condition of the common people was miserable. Miserable means what, students? In a very bad condition. In such circumstances, the sons in Maharashtra endeavored to inspire the masses. In Maharashtra, the tradition of sons, which began with Sant Gyaneshwar and Sant Namdev, was carried on by sons coming from various strata of society. So in Maharashtra, what happened? The traditions of sons which began with Sant Gyaneshwar and Sant Namdev, that was carried on by sons coming from various sections of the society. Pandharpur was at the center of the Sant movement. Vitthal was object of their worship. On the banks of the river Chandrabhaga at Pandharpur, the sons and pilgrimage, that is Warkari, used to rejoice in their devotion. Devotion means what, students? It means bhakti. Their equality was propagated through bhajans, kirtans and unity meals, that is called as Kala. Now first in detail we will be learning, students, about Sant Namdev. He was great sant of Warkari movement. Okay, of which movement he was great sant? Of Warkari movement. He was skilled organizer and performed excellent kirtan as well. That means he was very good organizer and he was very good in kirtan also. He awakened the sense of equality in men and women belonging to all castes through the medium of kirtan. That means we all are equal, that he had spread in the minds of the people through the medium of kirtans. His Abhanga compositions are well known. That means his Abhanga and compositions are very famous. He went up to Punjab propagating his thoughts. Okay, so he went till where he went? He had gone till Punjab. Why he went? To propagate his thoughts. His compositions are included in the Guru Granth Sahib of Sikhs. Okay, his compositions are also included in Guru Granth Sahib of Sikh. He propagated the message of Bhagavad religion in all quarters. He built a memorial to Sant Chokha Mela at Pandharpur. He had also built a memorial to Sant Chokha Mela at Pandharpur. Next, we will be learning about Sant Gyaneshwar. He was a great Sant in Varkari movement. He wrote Bhavarta Dipika or Gyaneshwari, which elucidates the meaning of Sanskrit Bhagavad Gita. Elucidates means what, students? It means explained. He also composed Amrutanubhav. He had also composed Amrutanubhav. He showed a simple way of worship and conduct which the common people could easily follow. What he had done? He had shown a simple way of worship through which common people can easily follow. He preached the importance of part of devotion through his works and composition. What he had shown? He had shown the importance of part of devotion through his works and compositions. His Pasayadan in Gyaneshwari uplifts the mind. Okay, students. So now till here we have learnt about in detail about Sant Gyaneshwar. Students, now we will be learning in detail about Sant Eknath. He was great Sant of Bhakti movement. So he was great Sant of which movement? Bhakti movement. His compositions are many and diverse. That means his compositions are many and they are diverse. They include Abhanga, Gavalana and Bharut, etc. He has stated Bhagavad Dharma in detail and simple manner. What he has done? He has stated Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Dharma in detail and simple manner. Simple manner means what, student? Which is very easy to understand. He composed Bhavat Ramayana in detail. Through his own conduct showed that there is no need to renounce worldly matters to attain Paramanand. Okay, students, that means through his own conduct showed that there is no need to renounce. Renounce means what? To put aside. Okay, worldly matters to attain Paramarat. He was a teacher to the of the people in true sense. So he was teacher of people in true sense. That means that much good work he has done. He maintained that Marathi is no way inferior to Sanskrit. He also maintained that Marathi is not at all inferior to Sanskrit. Next, moving ahead, we will learn now about Sant Tukaram. He belonged to Dehu near Pune. He composed pleasing and meaningful abhangas. Okay, what he had composed? Pleasing and meaningfully abhangas. Okay, this what he had done. Abhangas means what, students? A kind of poem. Tukaram Gatha is a valuable treasure of Marathi language. Okay, Tukaram Gatha is a very valuable treasure of Marathi language. That means it is very good to hear that. He asks people to find God by showing love to the unhappy and tormented. What he had told? He had asked people to find God by showing love. To whom? To the unhappy and tormented. That means the one who is very sad, we should love them. Okay, so that they become happy. Okay, he freed many poor families from loans taken from him. That means whatever people, poor families who had taken loan from him, he had freed them. That means he told not to give them the money. He criticized hypocrisy and blind belief. Okay, what else he did? He criticized. That means he didn't like hypocrisy. Hypocrisy means what? People who pretends to have certain belief. Okay, that this is right and that is wrong. Okay, so he criticized hypocrisy and blind faith. He tried to relate bhakti, that is devotion, with niti. That means he tried to relate bhakti with niti. That means devotion with morality. Sant Tukaram's disciples and associates were of different caste and creeds. So Sant Tukaram's disciples and associates were of different caste and they were of different creeds. Work of sons. So all this what we have learned, students, about different sons and what all things they had did. Okay. Sons gave the message of equality, humanity and humanism. What all these sons gave, what they have done? They had given the message of equality, humanity and humanism. They had taught people to love one another, unite and live in harmony. All these sons has also taught people that we should love each other, we should be united and we should also live in harmony. Live in harmony means what? There should not be fighting among themselves. Awakened the self-confidence and developed courage to face different calamities. Okay, we should also be self-confident. That means even though if the problem comes to us, we should face that. They have also developed courage to face different calamities. If any problem comes to anyone, how we should face the problem, they had taught. During the times of deterioration of ethics and religion, sons protected society, taught true meaning of religion, part of devotion by sharing their joys and sorrows. So what happened during the times of deterioration of ethics and religions? Sons protected society. They had protected the society. They had also taught what is actual meaning of religion. They had also taught how we should follow the path of devotion by sharing their joys and sorrows. They simplified religious teachings and maintained that all are children of God and equal irrespective of their varna and caste. Okay, what else they have done? They have simplified religious teachings and maintained that all are children of God and we all are children of God and we are all equal whatever our varna or our caste is. They perform duties of their day-to-day life and preach devotion and thereby nurtured morality in the society. They had also performed duties of their day-to-day life and they have preached. Preach means what? Spread. Okay, saying one thing about devotion and thereby nurtured morality in the society. The sons inspired people to break shackles and attain freedom. Okay, students. So what the sons had? Inspire people to break the shackles and attain freedom. That means we should not be under some stress and we should attain freedom. And then last, we will learn something about also, students, Ramdas Swami. He was from Jamp in Marathwada. He preached the importance of physical fitness to the people. He gave practical education in good conduct through works like Dasbodh, Karunashtaka, Manache Slok. So Ramdas Swami was from Jamp in Marathwada. What he has preached? He has preached importance of physical fitness to the people. That means we should always be fit. Okay, he explained, he had given importance of physical fitness to the people. He gave practical knowledge in good conduct through works like Dasbodh, Karunashtaka and Manache Sloks. Okay, so these are all, students, these are all religious texts. He propagated the worship of Ram and Hanuman. He traveled far and wide to propagate his thoughts. That means he had traveled far and wide so that his thoughts could be spread. So students, today what all things we have learned? We have learned in detail about, students, the work of Warkari movement. We have also learned in detail various sons like Sant Namdev, Sant Gyaneshwar, Sant Eknath, Sant Tukaram and in detail about Ramdas Swami. So students, such was the political, social, cultural situation etc. in Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. In that period, Maharashtra was under the control of Adil Shahi and other powers. It was not at all independent. Even so, some personalities and streams of thought were dreaming of freedom. Among them, Shahji Maharaj, who is considered to be a visionary of Swaraj, was on the forefront. I hope, students, it must be clear to you all about this lesson. If any doubt is there, you can again go through the video and get the doubts be cleared. Thank you so very much.